Maybe you chose to pursue video editing so that you wouldn't have to talk to other people, but spoiler alert, you cannot escape networking. Now, given the difficult state that our industry is in right now, it has never been more important for you to develop relationships with people in the industry, since it can open up a lot of opportunities for you better than your demo reel can. I think the core that often gets missed about networking is that it really is, or at least it should be, centered around making genuine connections with people. Now, that's really where one of the biggest issues lies with networking, because as a society, we are really growing more socially awkward every single day. And we really don't want to talk to people unless A, we like them, or B, we are getting something out of them. So therefore, we end up with networking events that revolve around you only talking to people to either pitch them something or to see what you can get out of them. Now, I'm sure that is not the case for everybody, but if you are watching this, I have to assume that you are interested in improving your networking skills so that you can use networking as a tool to advance yourself in the industry. But let's just keep in mind that networking is a tool, and we're not going to let it turn us into a tool. First of all, even though we want to be genuine, we do still want to be prepared in regards to networking. I would recommend creating business cards if it makes sense for you to do that, and if you're going to be going to a lot of in-person events. You also want to make sure that you have your portfolio link ready or a website ready in case that you are asked for it. You can also craft a 30-second elevator pitch in your notes app or in a journal that could describe your skills and expertise. And I would recommend after you write that, reading that pitch out to yourself. Does it sound forced? Does it sound ingenuine? And then continue to rephrase it so that it does sound naturally to you, so that when you're put on the spot down the road, you're not spitting it out like it's just your ChatGPT voice. You will sound like yourself. Now, if we haven't met yet, my name is Colleen, and in this channel, I help you to get a video editing job, and I help you get paid doing what you love. So for more tips on that and to support my channel, I'd so appreciate it if you could hit the like button below and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Now, the next step, of course, would be to find these local events. You can find them on Facebook groups or following your local film industry communities, and just keeping an eye out for any upcoming events. If you do find them and they happen to be actual Facebook events, make sure to express that you are going to the event, or at least that you are interested in the event, and maybe even comment underneath the event or share on the page that you are excited to go to it, or ask a question about the event. I think it's important to remember that any event put on by your local area more than likely is made up of a bunch of people that are just really passionate about networking and forming communities. And considering the epidemic of social anxiety that is a growing thing right now, I'm sure that they have been hit really hard with people not showing up to events or events not going the way that they had hoped because people are just too shy. So it helps the event community if you can not only express interest, RSVP that you are going, but also put yourself out there from the get-go that you are interested and excited in the event. Okay, we've gotten ourselves prepared. We're finding local networking events. Now let's talk about building those genuine relationships. Again, even though we're probably coming to this event because we need to network with people, even if we don't really want to, we need to get a job, we need to make friends with people who might recommend us to a job later down the line, there's something probably in it for us, and that's the reason why we want to go to said event. But as much as that might be the case, you don't have to put a glaring sign on your back that says, I don't really want to talk to you, but I'm here because I have to and I need something out of you. This is probably going to mean you're going to need to up your small talk game. You're going to need to find little opportunities to be extra friendly towards people and find common interest with them. Move yourself physically around the event slowly so that the chances of you naturally moving past someone who you could make a comment to maybe start a conversation is a little bit higher. I would not recommend sitting at said event unless you are sitting with a group of people who you do not know. When in doubt, Compliment someone, compliment their outfit or their hair or their name. Look at people's names if they have name tags on. When in doubt, find yourself at the food station or the drink station and make a comment about what someone else might be eating or drinking if you also like that thing. Now, if and when, we're manifesting here, you do find yourself in a conversation with someone you do not know, as someone who is kind of socially awkward, it can be very easy, for me at least, to kind of socially black out. I'm not looking at their name tag. I don't really know what they're saying. I'm just thinking in my head how I'm going to react to the next thing that they're saying without actually processing what they're saying. And it can be all very overwhelming and overstimulating to our brains. And I totally get that. And I have experienced that in the past. And because I experienced that in the past, I know now that, okay, next time you go to an event, here's what we can improve. And actively listening is absolutely one of those things that you can be improving. When they introduce themselves to you, say their name back to them. Don't worry so much about what your name is, worry more about what their name is. And then shortly after that, honestly, try to say their name again. Because even in past experiences, I have done that where I have introduced myself, they say their name back to me, I say their name back to them, and I still forget their name. So try and say it more than once in your interaction with them, not only so that you remember it, but also because it is inherently complimentary to say someone's name, especially when they don't know you or you don't know them. It literally can be a manipulation tactic, honestly, if used properly, because if someone says your name enough times, it induces this effect in our brains to where we like them because they are using our names. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a scientist. So we're actively listening to what we're saying. We're asking relevant questions to what they are saying. We are acting like we are interested in the story. And hopefully you are interested in the story because you are there to build those genuine connections with people. And you're finding common interests with these people because inevitably you're going to get to that kind of awkward part in your conversation where you're saying, what do you do? Here's what I do. What are you looking for? What am I looking for? That whole networking spiel where what can we get out of each other? That alone can be such an empty interaction that if you have the more genuine interaction of finding out you both have a love of a specific sports team, finding out you both share the same Starbucks coffee order, finding out you're both vegetarians, finding out you're both early birds, those things are more genuine things that you can follow up on with that person, inevitably on Instagram or however you may contact them later, rather than just hitting them up, asking them if they've heard anything about the industry lately, later down the line. If you're walking into a conversation like this and you are only focusing on what you are interested in, if you are only letting yourself talk rather than the other person talk, you're gonna find that even though you might feel good about the interaction, you might feel good about that you put yourself out there and you said what you wanted, that person isn't really gonna be receptive to what you are interested in, even if they act like they are interested in helping you. It's a one-sided interaction, and it probably is not going to lead to something helpful for you later down the line. Now, let's say that you are not doing an in-person networking event, and maybe it's an online event instead. I would still use these same techniques in a virtual setting. Some people find virtual meetings are better for them. Maybe they live farther away. Maybe it's a more niched group. Since it is from a larger geographical base, you can have more of one niche, like just a women's video editors club or only corporate video editors retreat. And these are super beneficial because you already know what all these people have in common in this group, but you still don't know them and they don't know you. So again, being engaged in the virtual group, asking questions, putting yourself out there, not just always talking about yourself, but talking about the subject at hand, lifting other people up in the group, asking questions, giving advice, telling your story in a short little snippet. Maybe you have your own elevator pitch of your own story. You're not taking up too much of everyone's time talking about you. You're talking about yourself just enough to get yourself out there so that people know you enough to where they can ask questions about you, but you are mainly interested in learning about everyone else, about being interested in the group and the event and the chat. And again, focusing on forming those genuine relationships, even again, if it is just to get a job out of all this. Now, you may have watched this whole video and still thought to yourself, yeah, this is all really nice, but I have severe social anxiety or I have severe imposter syndrome. I can't go into a networking event like this and just start talking to people and selling myself. And I'm with you. They are not for everyone. And truly, if you cannot do them, then you cannot do them. Don't put yourself in a situation that is going to give you crippling effects where you are going to have a panic attack, get upset and need to sit in the bathroom for hours. Or if you know you're going to go to that event, maybe even with a friend, and then you know you're only going to talk to your friend the whole time, especially if it is a local event, it doesn't really look the best, even if it wasn't your intention, but you were just too shy to go and talk to anyone else. If you go there and you're only talking to your friend, it doesn't really look great, because if people know you, even through a friend of a friend, they may associate you with being a little bit standoffish, even if it's not really your intention or your fault even. You just have this crippling anxiety. So I would absolutely recommend, if you have a huge fear of networking, sure, bring a friend, bring an outgoing friend who probably will be more likely to talk to some random stranger and pull you into a conversation. I think that is a really beneficial way to get yourself out there. And also on that topic, I would like to say that the more networking events you go to, it becomes a little less scary every time, especially if you don't think that everything is on the line and this is the one networking event that's going to help me to break into the industry and get me the job of my dreams. I've been to networking events where I didn't have a job and I needed a job. And then I've been to networking events where I already had a job and I didn't need a job. And the anxiety levels of either one were very different. So if you just try and take that out of it, I think that will be helpful to you. The last thing that I will recommend, and I think this could be interesting, if you have a huge fear of networking, but you want to start putting yourself out there and just getting more comfortable with in-person events. Say there is a local community in the industry that you are interested in attending their networking event. Would it be so bad to just message the person holding the event or someone that you know is involved in the event and ask them if you can volunteer and ask if there's any jobs that need done that day? Maybe it's working the drink station. Maybe it's helping at the front if there's like a sign-in process. Maybe it's helping to decorate. I think that that is a great tactic because you have a specific job to do. And even if you're also there to meet people, one, you're going to be meeting people through the hosters of the event, but also just through the task that you are needing to do yourself. Maybe if you are on decorating, you're with someone else. So you guys are decorating together and then you get to talking to that person. And then there you go. Now you have a contact at the networking event. And even if we might be only going to this networking event to get something out of people, let's not forget that we do need to nurture our network after said event and into future events. Even if that just means keeping in touch with them on social, commenting on certain people's posts, going to the next event in that community's calendar, continuing to offer support or advice or ask questions. I think it's the easiest way to make friends that can help you later in life is by being present on social media, whether that be on the Facebook group or following these people individually. I think that some of the strongest ways to get jobs is through network connections and referrals and just through directly other people that you run into, whether that be through work or networking events or just your general personal life. I think that those often lead to the best opportunities. And so even though it is scary, I think it is so important to be putting yourself out there. And good for you for even watching this video if you are struggling with networking, but you are taking the time to do what you need to do to learn the skill of networking so that you can gain something from it. Now, if you have your own networking secrets or tactics, I would love to hear from you. So be sure to leave a comment below, or if you are still struggling with networking, be sure to comment that as well, and maybe we can work through that together. Either way, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Again, a reminder to like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe for more tips on video editing and freelance lifestyle. Thank you to my editor, Logan. Again, I am Colleen, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Have the best one.